남규태방송 시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까. 오늘은 2023년 5월 4일 목요일입니다. 현재 시간은 오전 7시 47분입니다. 성경공부 474회 방송을 시작하겠습니다. 성경은 열왕기상 10장부터 영문으로 읽어보겠습니다. When the king of Seba heard about the fame of Solomon and his relationship to the Lord, she came to test Solomon with hard questions. Arriving at Jerusalem with a very great caravan with camels carrying spices, large quantities of gold and precious stones. She came to Solomon and talked with him about all that she had on her mind. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for the king to explain to her. When the king of Sheba saw all the wisdom of Solomon and the place he had built, the food on his table, the seating of his officials, the attending servants in their robes, his cupbearers, and the burnt offerings he made at the temple of the Lord, she was overwhelmed. She said to king, the reporter, I heard in my own country about your achievement, and your wisdom is true. But I did not believe these things until I came and saw with my own eyes. Indeed, not even half was told me. Wisdom and wealth you have for exceeded the report I heard. How happy your people must be, how happy your officials who continually stand before you and hear your wisdom. Praise be to the Lord your God, who has delighted in you and placed you on the throne of Israel. Because of the Lord's eternal love for Israel, he has made you king to maintain justice and righteousness. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, large quantities of spices and precious stones. Never again were so many spices brought in as those the queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. Hiram's ships brought gold from Ophir and from There they brought great cargoes of almugwood and precious stones. The king used the almugwood to make support for the temple of the Lord and for the royal place. And to make harpers and lyres for the musicians. So much almugwood has never been imported or seen since today. King Solomon gave the king of Sheba all she desired and asked for besides what he had given her out of his royal bounty. Then she left and returned with her retinue to her own country. The weight of the gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents, not including the revenues from merchants and traders and from all the Arabian kings and governors of the territories. King Solomon made 200 large shields of hammered gold. 600 shekels of gold went into each shield. He also made 300 small shields of hammered gold with 3 minas of gold in each shield. The king put them in the place of the forest of Lebanon. Then the king made a great throne covered with ivory and overlaid with fine gold. The throne had 6 steps, and its back had a rounded top. On both sides of the seat were nests with a lion standing beside each of them. 12 lions stood on the 6 steps, one at either end of each step. Nothing like it had ever been made for any other kingdom. All King Solomon's global lists were gold, and all the household articles in the place of the forest of Lebanon were pure gold. Nothing was made of silver, because silver was considered of little value in Solomon's days. The king had a fleet of trading ships, sea along with the ships of Hiram. Once every 3 years, it returned, carrying gold, silver, and ivory, and apes, and once every 3 years, it returned, carrying gold, silver, and ivory, and apes, and baboons. King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than all the other kings of the earth. The whole world showed audience with Solomon to hear the wisdom God had put in his heart. Yes, after a year, everyone who came brought a gift. Articles of silver and gold, robes, weapons, and spices, and horses and rules. Solomon accumulated chariots and horses. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses, which he kept in the chariot cities and also with him in Jerusalem. The king made silver as common in Jerusalem as thorns, and the cedar as plentiful as sycamore fig trees in the foothills. Solomon's horses were imported from Egypt and from Q. The royal merchants purchased them from Q at the current price. They imported chariot from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver and a hold for 150. They also exported them to all the kings of the Hittites and of the Arameans. King Solomon, however, loved many praying women besides Pharaoh's daughter. 모아바이츠, 암모나이츠, 에도마이츠, 시도니온스, and Hittites. They were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israel. Right, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your heart after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in love. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. He followed Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely, as David his father had done. On a hill east of Jerusalem, Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and for Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He did the same for all his foreign wives, who burned incense and offered sacrifices to their gods. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to his twice. Although he had forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. So the Lord said to Solomon, "Since this is your attitude, and you have not kept my covenant and my decrees, which I commanded you, I will most certainly tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your subordinates. Never say this for the sake of David, your father. I will not do it during your lifetime. I will deal it out of the hand of your son. Yet I will not tear the whole kingdom from him, but will give him one tribe for the sake of David, my servant, and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen." Then the Lord raised against Solomon and the adversary Hadad, the Edomite, from the royal line of Edom. Earlier, when David was fighting with Edom, Joab, the commander of the army, who had gone up to bury the dead, had struck down all the men in Edom. Joab and all the Israelites stayed there for 6 months until they had destroyed all the men in Edom. But Hadad, still only a boy, fled to Egypt with some Edomite officials who had served his father. They set out from Midian and went to Paran. Then taking people from Paran with them, they went to Egypt to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who gave Hadad a house and land and provided him with food. Pharaoh was so pleased with Hadad that he gave him a sister of his own wife, King Tahpen's, in marriage. The sister of Tahpenes bore him a son named Sinabas, whom Tahpenes brought up in the royal place. There, Janubas lived with Pharaoh's own children. While he was in Egypt, Hadad heard that David rested with his ancestors. Hadad Joab, the commander of the army, also did. Then Hadad said to Pharaoh, "Let me go, that I may return to my own country." What have you lacked here that you want to go back to your own country? Pharaoh said, "Nothing." Hadad replied, "But let me go." And God raised up against Solomon another adversary, Region's son of Eliada, who had fled from his master. Hadad, king of Jobah, when David destroyed Jobah's army, led John gathered a band of men around him and became their leader. They went to Damascus, where they settled and took control. Rizal was Israel's adversary as long as Solomon lived, adding to the trouble caused by Hadad. So Rezin ruled in Aram and was hostile toward Israel. Also, Jeroboam, son of Nebat, rebelled against the king. He was one of Solomon's officials, an Ephraimite from Jereda, and his mother was widow named Jeroah. Here is the account of how he rebelled against the king. Solomon had built the terrace and had filled in the gap in the wall of the city of David, his father. Now Jeroboam was a man of standing, and when Solomon saw how well the young man did his work, he put him in charge of the whole labor force of the tribes of Joseph. About that time, Jeroboam was going out of Jerusalem, and Ahijah, the prophet of Shiloh, met him on the way, wearing a new cloak. The two of them were alone out in the country, and Ahijah took hold of the new cloak he was wearing and tore it into 12 pieces. Then he said to Jeroboam, "Take 10 pieces for yourself, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. See, I am going to tear the kingdom out of Solomon's hand and give you 10 tribes. But for the sake of my servant David and the city of Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, he will have one tribe. I will do this because they have forsaken me and all sheep the Eshitores, the goddess of the Sidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Morek, the god of the Ammonites, and have not worked in obedience to me, nor done what is right in my eyes, nor kept my decrees, and rose as David Solomon's father did. But I will not take the whole kingdom out of Solomon's hand. I have made him ruler all the days of his life for the sake of David, my servant, whom I choose, and who obeyed my commands and decrees. I will take the kingdom from his son's hands and give you 10 tribes. I will give one tribe to his son, so that David, my servant, may always have a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city where I chose to put my name. However, as for you, I will take you, and you will rule over all that your heart desires. You will be king over Israel if you do whatever I command you and work in obedience to me and do what is right in my eyes by obeying my decrees and commands as David, my servant, did. I will be with you. I will build you dynasty as enduring as the one I built for David, and will give Israel to you. I will humble David's descendants because of this. But not forever. Solomon tried to kill Jeroboam, but Jeroboam fled to Egypt to seek the king, and stayed there until Solomon's death. As for the other event of Solomon's reign, all he did and the wisdom he displayed, they not written in the book of the annals of Solomon. Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel 40 years. Then he rested with his ancestors and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son succeeded him as king. Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had gone there to make him king. When Jerusalem son of Nebat heard this, he was still in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon. He returned from Egypt, so they sent for Jeroboam, and he and the whole assembly of Israel went to Rehoboam and said to him, "Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but now lighten the harsh labor and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you." Rehoboam answered, "Go away for 3 days and then come back to me." So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam consulted the elders who had served his father Solomon during his lifetime. "How do you advise me to answer these people?" he asked. They replied, "If today you will be servant to these people and serve them and give them favorable answer, they will always be your servants." But Rehoboam rejected the advice the elders gave him and consulted the young man who had grown up with him and we are serving him. He asked them, "What is your advice? How should we answer these people who say to me, 'Lighten the yoke your father put on us'?" The young man who had grown up with him replied, "These people have said to you, 'Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but make our yoke lighter.' Now tell them, my little finger is thicker than my father waist. My father laid on you a heavy yoke. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people returned to Rehoboam as the king had said, "Come back to me in 3 days." The king answered the people harshly, rejecting the advice given him by the elders. He followed the advice of the young man and said, "My father made your yoke heavy. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." So the king did not listen to the people, for this turn of events was from the Lord to fulfill the word the Lord had spoken to Jeroboam, son of Nebat, through Ahijah the Shilonite. When all Israel saw that the king refused to listen to them, they answered the king, "What share do we have in David? What part in Jesse's son to your tent, Israel? Look after your own house, David." So the Israelites went home, but as for the Israelites who were living in the towns of Judah, Rehoboam still ruled over them. King Rehoboam sent out Adoniram, who was in charge of force the rabble, but all Israel stoned him to death. King Rehoboam, however, managed to get into his chariot and escape to Jerusalem. So Israel had been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. And all the Israelites heard that Jeroboam had returned. They sent and called him to the assembly and made him king over all Israel. Only the tribe of Judah remained loyal to the house of David. When Rehoboam arrived in Jerusalem, he mustered all Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 able young men to go to war against Israel and to regain the kingdom of Rehoboam, son of Solomon. But this word of God came to Shimei, the man of God. Say to Rehoboam, son of Solomon, king of Judah, to all Judah and Benjamin, and to the rest of the people, this is what the Lord says: do not go up to fight against your brothers, the Israelites. Go home, every one of you, for this is my doing. So they obeyed the word of the Lord and went home again as the Lord had ordered. Then Jeroboam fortified Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim and lived there. From there he went out and built up Near Jeroboam thought to himself, the kingdom will now likely revert to the house of David. If these people go up to offer sacrifices at the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem, they will again give their only answer to the Lord. Rehoboam, king of Judah, they will kill me and return to King Rehoboam. After seeking advice, the king made two golden calves. He said to the people, "It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods. Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." One he set up in Bethel and the other in Dan, and this thing became a sin. The people came to worship the one at Bethel and went as far as then to worship the other. Jeroboam built shrines on high priests and appointed priests from all sorts of people, even though they were not Levites. He instituted our festival on the 15th day of the 8th month, like the festival held in Judah, and offered sacrifices on the altar. This he did in Bethel, sacrificing to the calves he had made. And at Bethel he also installed the priests at the high priests he had made. On the 15th day of the 88th month, a month of his own choosing, he offered the sacrifices on the altar he had built Bethel. So he instituted the festival for the Israelites and went up to the altar to make offerings. By the word of the Lord, a man of God came from Judah to Bethel as Jeroboam was standing by the altar to make an offering. By the word of the Lord, he cried out against the altar. Altar, this is what the Lord says. A son named Josiah will be born to the house of David. On you he will sacrifice the priests of the high priests who make offerings here, and human bones will be buried on you. The same day the man of God gave us a sign. This is the sign the Lord has declared. The altar will be split apart, and the ashes on it will be poured out. When King Jeroboam heard what the man of God cried out against the altar at Bethel, he stretched out his hand from the altar and said, says him, but the hand he stretched out toward the man shriveled up, so that he could not pull it back. Also, the altar was split apart, and its ashes poured out according to the sign given by the man of God by the word of the Lord. The king said to the man of God, intercede with the Lord your God and pray for me that my hand may be resolved. So the man of God interceded with the Lord, and the king's hand was restored and became as it was before. The king said to the man of God, come home with me for a meal, and I will give you a gift. But the man of God answered the king, even if you were to give me help your possessions, I would not go with you, nor would I eat bread and drink water here. For I was commanded by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water or return by the way you came. So he took another load and did not return by the way he did come to Bethel. Now there was a certain old prophet arriving in Bethel, whose sons came and told him all that the man of God had done there that day. They also told their father what he had said to the king. Their father asked them, which way did he go? And his sons showed him which road the man of God from Judah had taken. So he said to his sons, saddle the donkey for me. And when they had settled the donkey for him, he mounted it and rode after the man of God. He found him sitting under an oak tree and asked, are you the man of God who came from Judah? I am, he replied. So the prophet said to him, come home with me and eat. The man of God said, I cannot turn back and go with you, nor can I eat bread or drink water with you in this place. I have been told by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water. There is a return by the way you came. The old prophet answered, I too am a prophet as you are, and an angel said to me by the word of the Lord, bring him back with you to your house so that he may eat bread and drink water. But he was lying to him. So the man of God returned with him and ate and drank in his house. While they were sitting at the table, the word of the Lord came to the old prophet who had brought him back. He cried out to the man of God who had come from Judah. This is what Lord says. You have defied that the Lord says, you have defied the Lord, the word of the Lord, and have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. You came back and ate bread and drink water in the place where he told you not to eat or drink. Therefore, your body will not be buried in the tomb of your ancestors. When the man of God had finished eating and drinking, the prophet who had brought him back saddled his donkey for him. As he went on his way, a lion met him on the road and killed him. And his body was left lying on the road with both the donkey and the lion standing beside it. Some people who passed by saw the body lying there with the lion standing beside the body, and they went and reported it in the city where the old prophet lived. When the prophet who had brought him back from his journey heard of it, he said, "It is the man of God who defied the word of the Lord. The Lord has given him over to the lion, which has mauled him and killed him, as the word of the Lord had warned him." The prophet said to his sons, "Saddle the donkey for me," and they did so. Then he went out and found the body lying on the road with the donkey and the lion standing beside it. The lion had neither eaten the body nor mauled the donkey. So the prophet picked up the body of the man of God, laid it on the donkey, and brought it back to his own city to mourn for him and bury him. Then he laid the body in his own tomb, and they mourned over him and said, "Alas, my brother." After burying him, he said to his sons, "When I die, bury me in the grave where the man of God is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones." For the message he declared by the word of the Lord against the altar in Bethel and against all the shrines on the high places in the towns of Samaria will certainly come true. Even after this, Jeroboam did not change his every ways, but once more appointed priests for the high priests from all sorts of people. Anyone who wanted to become a priest, he consecrated for the high priests. This was the sin of the house of Jeroboam that led to its downfall and to its destruction from the face of the earth. At that time, Abijah, son of Jeroboam, became ill, and Jeroboam said to his wife, "Go this kiss yourself." So you want to be recognized as the wife of Jeroboam, then go to Shiloh. Ahijah, the prophet, is there, the one who told me I would be king over these people. Take then loaves of bread with you, some cakes and a jar of honey, and go to him. He will tell you what will happen to the body. So Jeroboam's wife did what he said and went to Ahijah's house in Shiloh. Now Ahijah could not see. His sight was gone because of his age. But the Lord had told Ahijah, Jeroboam's wife is coming to ask you about her son. For he is ill, and you are to give her such an answer. When she arrives, she will pretend to be someone else. So when Ahijah heard the sound of her footsteps at the door, he said, "Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why this pretense? I have been sent to you with bad news. Go tell Jeroboam that this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, I raised you up from among the people and appointed you ruler over my people Israel. I told the kingdom away from the house of David and gave it to you, but you have not been like my servant David, who kept my commands and followed me with all his heart, doing only what was right in my eyes. You have done more evil than all who lived for you. You have made for yourself other gods. Idols made of a meter. You have announced my anger and turned your back on me. Because of this, I am going to bring disaster on the house of Jeroboam. I will cut off from Jeroboam every rest male in Israel, slave or free. I will burn up the house of Jeroboam as one burns doing dung. Until it is all gone, those will eat those belonging to Jeroboam who die in the city, and the birds will feed on those who die in the country. The Lord has spoken. As for you, go back home. When you set foot in your city, the boy will die. All Israel will mourn for him and bury him. He is the only one belonging to Jeroboam who will be buried. Because he is the only one in the house of Jeroboam in whom the Lord, the God of Israel, has found anything good. The Lord will raise for himself a king over Israel who will cut off the family of Jeroboam. Even now, this is beginning to happen, and the Lord will strike Israel, so that I will be like a reed swaying in the altar. He will uproot Israel from this good land that he gave to their ancestor, and scatter them beyond the Euphrates River, because they arouse the Lord's anger by making us Asherah poles. And he will give Israel up because of the sins Jeroboam has committed, and he has caused Israel to commit. Then Jeroboam's wife got up and left and went to Tirza. As soon as she stepped over the threshold of the house, the body died. They buried him, and all Israel mourned for him, as the Lord has said through his servant the prophet Ahijah. The other events of Jeroboam's reign, his wants, and how he ruled written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. He reigned for 22 years and then rested with his ancestor, and Nadab, his son, succeeded him as king. Rehoboam, son of Solomon, was king in Judah. He was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city the Lord had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, in which to put his name. His mother's name was Nama. She was an Ammonite. Judah did evil in the eyes of the Lord by the sins they committed. They stirred up his jealous anger more than those who were before them had done. They also set up for themselves high priests, sacred stones, and Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. There were even male shrine prostitutes in the land. The people engaged in all the detestable practice of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. In the people's year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, attacked Jerusalem. He carried off the treasures of the temple of the Lord and the treasures of the royal palace. He took everything, including all the gold shields Solomon had made. So King Rehoboam made bronze shields to replace them and assigned these to the commanders of the guard on duty at the entrance to the royal place. Whenever the king went to the Lord's temple, the guards of all the shields, and afterward they returned him to the guard room. As for the other events of Rehoboam's reign and all he did, they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah. There was continual warfare between Rehoboam and Jeroboam. And Rehoboam rested with his ancestors, and he was buried with them in the city of David. His mother's name was she was an Ammonite, and Abijah his son succeeded him as king. 성경공부 474회 방송을 여기서 종료하도록 하겠습니다. 열왕기상 14장까지 영문으로 읽어봤습니다. 주기도문 기도하고 방송을 끝내겠습니다. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours in the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. 아멘. 시청해 주신 분께 감사드리겠습니다. 다음 방송에서 다시 찾아뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계십시오.